There are only 12 hours left until the deadline. Negotiations are stalled.
Man, he's still out there, bro. What are we going to do?
The task force is out of options. Preparations for an assault on the warden's office are finalized. The teams move into position for the attack. Then, an unexpected breakthrough from Washington reports that Cuba has agreed to repatriate all Cuban inmates.
We were informed that a decision had been made to allow a number of the inmates to go to Cuba. So we had this information and we simply sat on it until the moment was right.
Inside the small room, the inmates are exhausted. Their solidarity is splintering. And then, Roberto Villar's mother arrives in St. Martinville and requests to speak to her son. In a last-ditch effort to avoid bloodshed, Serg allows her inside the jail for a face-to-face meeting they hope will end the standoff. Special Agent Gloria Newport and a female chaplain accompany Villar's mother as she walks down the hallway to see her son. The women know that if the inmates don't surrender soon, the task force will have no choice but to attack.
Mamá.
Hola, hijo.
Mrs. Villar basically scolded her son and the rest of the inmates and told them that they should act like men and do the proper thing and release the hostages and come out.
Seeing that the hostage takers' resolve is fading, Serg negotiators decide it's time to play their final card.
Vámonos.
Gloria Newport tells the inmates that the State Department and Cuba have agreed to a deal where Cuba will accept the Cuban inmates back into their country.
What's the plan?
We'll have a bus waiting for you. Get on a plane, and you can go to Cuba.
The hostage takers are clearly skeptical. Gloria Newport reassures the inmates they will not be harmed, and the surrender process begins. But only seconds away from a peaceful resolution, the prisoners make one final demand.
They demanded that the first person be given a two-way radio, and once he arrived at the bus, that he would call back to his fellow inmates to let them know that he was okay and that he was safe.
Serg agrees, and it seems the crisis is over. Jorge Ramirez is the first hostage taker to leave the warden's office. He is given the all-important two-way radio, and then he begins his walk through the waiting squads of HRT agents.
Stop. Put your hands on your head. Put them on your head and lock your fingers.
Now we wait.
Make any sudden move. Move. Walk. Stop right there.
He gets downstairs to the bus that will carry them to the plane. They take the radio away from him.
The hostage takers wait for Ramirez to signal that he's made it, that law enforcement has held up its part of the deal. Minutes pass, and he doesn't report back.
Ramirez! Ramirez!
The task force does not know that a simple breakdown in communications threatens to undo the entire surrender. Inside the warden's office, the inmates anxiously wait for a message from Ramirez that everything is good, but all they hear is silence. Unbeknownst to them and to everyone else, an HRT member has mistakenly confiscated the radio from a protesting Ramirez.
Ramirez! Man, this better not be no double cross.
Hey, this guy needs that radio to be able to call upstairs and tell him he's all right.
If he didn't refer back the information that everything was okay, they were going to still kill one of us.
As seconds tick by, the deal threatens to unravel.
And finally, they get word downstairs, hey, give the man the radio, and he calls up and says, hey, everything's all right.
Okay, it's okay.
The inmates celebrate their imminent release to Cuba, but the warden is worried. The hostage takers are still armed, and 7 hostages remain at risk.
I told the guys, HRT's right outside the window. They all got loaded automatics. I said, how y'all gonna walk out with those weapons? You don't think if you walk out with a weapon that they're gonna mow you down right there, kill you? And they gave them up, and I locked them up in my closet.
As the surrender proceeds, each inmate and hostage is carefully searched and then escorted from the jail. After 6 days of being held prisoner in his own jail, the warden is the last to leave.
And I made it a point to be the last one to walk out of here. I was the first one taken in. I wanted to be the last one to get out.
of the hostage situation coming to an end. What you see there is Warden Todd Louvier.
You look for any resolution short of violence. So success is everyone going home.
Only 5 inmates are eventually returned to Cuba. Roberto Villar is held on unrelated state charges and is currently serving 55 years for attempted first-degree murder. Anthony DeVoe is refused entry to Cuba and later convicted of aggravated kidnapping. He remains incarcerated in the St. Martinville Parish Correctional Center.